Welcome to Coffee and Courage. I'm Amber.
And I'm Parker.
And we're so glad you're here.
If you're listening to this, chances are you know what it feels like to exist in two worlds at once. There's one world where you're a parent doing the bedtime routines, packing lunches, celebrating milestones, and then there's the other world, the one with medical terminology you never wanted to learn about, insurance battles that you never signed up for, and a kind of exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix.
We live in both of these worlds. We are the medical parents to our son Koa. He has very complex medical needs. He's diagnosed with full trisomy 18, and he's someone who's spent more time in hospital rooms than we ever imagined.
That's why Coffee and Courage exist.
Koa's story began in utero. He was diagnosed at approximately 20 weeks.
Everything up to that point was pretty typical for a pregnancy.
We went to 3 different states trying to find answers for our son.
Our next step was we had to pick the right hospital for labor and delivery. We saw doctors here and doctors in California.
In Utah, yeah. And we chose Primary Children's in Utah because it had the highest level NICU care.
We were living in Utah 1 week shy of a year.
So the moment that we realized other parents needed this space was that we belong to many fabulous groups on the internet. There's tons, and we'll share all those resources with you. What I was noticing though that was coming up in the groups so that we can fill this gap is really caregivers wondering how they can keep themselves well emotionally, how they can keep their relationships well, work-life balance, how to work with insurance companies, how to work with just basically each other and the medical teams, that we have to deal with on the daily.
Yeah.
It's particularly those early times in the NICU when our son was very first born. I have to say those were the hardest times.
One of the big reasons that we decided to start this project and this community is we noticed all the other internet communities and support groups, they all focus on the kids and the care. And we think that it's important to also have a space that focuses on the adults and the needs of the parents.
How we're caring for ourselves and how do we keep ourselves healthy and our relationships healthy, so that we can continue to fiercely advocate for our kids.
Yeah, because the better we take care of ourselves, the better care we can provide for our children.
Absolutely, and the more fiercely we can advocate for them when the time comes. I believe that we're uniquely positioned for this type of group because I have a background in marriage and family therapy. I'm a licensed therapist. This is not therapy, this group. My husband is a veteran, so he's had tons of training as far as like preparing. In our other channel, he's the main person who like plans and executes all of the travel. And while I was postpartum and going through these things in the NICU, his strengths as far as that time in the military, I do believe really helped us through a lot of that advocacy that needed to take place.
Yeah, ways that you can integrate some of the training that we have in the military is, we focus on building resiliency of individuals. We focus on maintaining a steady course in stressful environments, planning and preparation, time management. There's lots of skills that carry over from the military that are very beneficial in stressful environments. And being a medically complex parent, you're basically in a stressful environment all the time.
What this community is and isn't. This community is a space that will offer permission for us adults to feel everything. We don't need to put on a mask here. It's raw, it's authentic. Our experiences are real, they're valid, and the stress is enormous.
Yeah, it's providing some practical tools and resources, insurance appeal templates, and other things that we've come across throughout our journey.
That we've created.
Tips and tricks, yeah.
Templates that will be helpful.
Anything that you guys want us to cover, we'll have some Q&A sessions and videos and so if you guys have ideas, feel free to submit them in the comments and we'll see if we can cover them.
What this group will not be is, that toxic positivity. Yes, positivity helps, and sometimes leaning on not everything happens for a reason can help some people, but for others can be very invalidating. More importantly though, what this community is it's not medical advice. You should always, always, always consult with your medical team on anything that you run across, the licensed professionals that are caring for your child.
Or for you. Another thing that we won't be doing here is comparing our children or our circumstances to one another. I don't think that it benefits anyone to say, my child is more disabled than yours or less disabled. It's not a competition. Everyone is here just to help each other out.
I like that quote that you just shared recently. Comparison is the thief of joy. Another thing that this community is not going to be is a place where we feel like we need to perform. That whole I'm a strong mom, strong dad, strong caregiver facade, and I don't ever experience any stress. We're trying to keep it real here. Real talk, real circumstances. Not everything is easy.
Who this group is for is the parents and grandparents of medically complex children or disabled children, the caregivers of those children, the care teams and the specialists of those children, and the parents, and anyone who's ever been told, I don't know how you do it.
And you wanted to scream.
Yeah, people living in the NICU, SICU, or PICU, or other long-term hospital rooms. Parents who are post-discharge and just figuring out life at home. Anyone who's feeling isolated due to medical complexity.
In these episodes, we'll be covering a lot of things, including medical trauma and mental health, navigating insurance and school systems, marriage and relationships that are under medical stress,
self-care that's actually realistic, guest interviews with other medical parents, specialists and medical specialists sharing their expertise. Community features, we'll do some Q&A episodes and you can submit your comments down in the submit your questions down in the comments. Resource sharing, connection with Systemic Solutions Consulting.
More on that later.
Yeah, more on that to follow.
In summary, here's what we want you to know. You belong here. Whether your child was just diagnosed or you're years into this journey, whether you're in the hospital right now listening to this on your phone at 2 a.m., whether you feel like you're crushing it or barely surviving, you belong here. Grab your coffee or your wine or your energy drink, your glass of water, or even your tears, and let's find some courage together. We'll be back next week with episode 2, the things nobody tells you about medical parenting. Until then, be gentle with yourself. You're doing better than you think. I'm Amber.
And I'm Parker.
And this is Coffee and Courage.